how can you be more present in the moment? How can you experience more states of well-being? How can you experience more states of regulation and connection to yourself? In this video, I want to share with you a lot of things that I personally do in order to maintain my own well-being, in order to feel safe in the moment, and in order to just be grounded within it. So a very important element of this is valuing having a healthy nervous system, because your body and your nervous system essentially is always talking to you, and it's typically far more intelligent, far more useful than most of the thoughts that go through our mind. Your body's a highly intelligent system, not just a dumb hunk of meat, right? It's not just like this dumb machine, right? Read some books on the nervous system, right, and healing the nervous system, and that'll begin to really shift your view and actually act on it, and that'll really begin to shift your view of it. So I'm doing a lot of things that just keep my nervous system in states of regulation, and things that I can tell are going to throw it out of regulation, I don't do them. I sense into things, right? I'm able to kind of probe into them, feel into them, and if they're going to throw me out of whack, I just don't do them. So I'm listening to what's really aligned with me and my own well-being, and I'm acting upon the things that bring me the deepest sense of peace, the deepest sense of excitement, the deepest sense of love and care and presence. Right? The things that actually make me feel well. I'm acting out of intrinsic motivation as well. So let's get to very practical things that I actually do and that can actually help you as well for creating more states of well-being, regulating the nervous system, etc. So personally, I have very strong boundaries with technology. I don't wake up and I don't start scrolling on my phone. I don't even really check my phone very much at all throughout the day. Typically, I don't even check it until the late afternoon or even the evening. I have no purpose. It doesn't fit into my lifestyle. I understand that's not going to work with everyone, but technology and always being stuck on screens and being, in a sense, just addicted to them, not even in a sense, just straight up addicted to them, this is actually throwing your mind and your nervous system out of whack. It's creating chaos in your mind, aka psychic entropy, and it's creating, in a sense, just cracks in the psyche. It's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for your mind. So you want to actually limit the amount of time that you spend staring at a screen. It actually throws you off balance, and this becomes very obvious when you actually really begin to regulate the nervous system and when you actually begin to become more grounded within yourself. You can just sense that this is just kind of disgusting, actually. Like, the energy of doing it is disgusting. It actually makes your mind just this messy, chaotic place rather than a stable and grounded place. So phone addiction and high screen time creates cracks in the psyche. Basically, you want to limit stimulation and not overstimulate. Right? This is something that I personally do quite a lot. Overstimulation is going to throw you way too far out of whack, listening to way too much music, watching way too much online content, always scrolling, always having a screen to look at, video games, Netflix, TV, etc. Right? Limit the amount of stuff that you're actually exposing yourself to, and the things that you do expose yourself to, they have to be things that are actually really healthy for you. They're giving you the energy that you actually need in order to feel regulated and well, essentially. So you're setting up boundaries with the world so that, in a sense, these boundaries are like filtering the energy that is allowed into your body and mind. Next is daily meditation. I practice it for a minimum of 1 hour per day. I've been doing this for like seven plus years or something. That's really important. Vipassana meditation is typically what I'm doing. I also have done a lot of meditation retreats, which are the most beneficial thing I've ever done for myself in my own life. And this really deeply connects you to the present, to yourself, to just pure consciousness. This helps you to raise your psychological, emotional development, your cognitive development. This allows you to connect with others deeper. This increases mental clarity. It grounds you in the body and more. This is extremely healthy for the nervous system. And without this ability to just sit in your own presence in a completely undistracted way, everything else in this video is practically useless. Like, this is like the foundation that I'm talking about right here. Like, if you want to really experience the deepest states of just presence and well-being, you need to actually bring awareness into your body. You actually need to really ground yourself in your own being, really inhabit your own body rather than always being disassociated from it, feeling numb, feeling disconnected from yourself, feeling dull. Right? Meditation is one thing that just really helps with that, because when you're not connected to yourself in this present and stable and grounded way, your nervous system is actually going to be out of whack again. You're going to be in fight, flight, freeze again. You're going to be in subtle states of unregulation. Right? So it's like we're trying to maximize regulation within the nervous system. This is essential. So moving on from meditation, I eat little to no junk food. Right? This is personally just like my diet. Right? This basically means eating mostly fruits and vegetables. I don't really eat a lot of junk food, soda, foods that have high heavy metals as well. A lot of fish has high heavy metals. Soda, for example, pop, I usually call it pop, I'm from Canada, has high heavy metals, mercury, lead, copper. So I'm not eating that. I'm not putting that in my body. I'm feeding it things that make my body feel well, things that foster a sense of connection to myself, things that allow the energy in my body to circulate and regulate a lot better, rather than being stuck and rigid and feeling solidified and just mechanical and dense, really. So I'm eating little to no foods that are, in a sense, low vibe, things that make me feel dense, things that make me feel heavy. And you can actually really become sensitive to the energy of the food you eat and how it impacts your state. The more you become present to your experience, the more you're able to connect to yourself, other living creatures, the environment around you, and just consciousness. You start to actually sense into the quality of the energy of the food that you're eating, right? And your body's intelligent. It can actually sense what it's supposed to be eating just based off of being in the presence of the food that you're eating. Right? But this is a skill that you have to develop. If you're always kind of too numb on screens and you're not meditating and you're not, if you're not doing a lot of things I'm talking about in this video, that's going to seem like hocus pocus nonsense to you. Feeling the energy of the foods, what the hell is that? Right? But it's completely legit. It's just that you have to raise your consciousness. Right, so I don't eat a lot of meat either. Little to no meat. I know a lot of people really love eating meat, but I'm really just, again, I'm talking about my diet here and just what's working the best for me. I don't eat a lot of meat because I can sense that it's actually relatively low vibe. The energy of meat is very dense. It's very dead. Right? It doesn't actually bring a lot of value to me. I can just sense that. I can sense that in the energy of the food when I'm eating it, when I'm in this presence, when I put my hand near it, I can feel it, right? So again, this is literally just my diet. Eat whatever you want, but just notice how it's always impacting your state. Another really important point about diet is heavy metal detox, right? Our bodies are literally full of heavy metals. The air we breathe has it. Again, certain foods have it, and they get stuck in you. And they actually start to throw off your ability to attune and connect to yourself and to the present and to other people and the environment around you and to your own psychological, emotional state. It starts to throw everything out of whack, really. So you need to look into ways to actually do a heavy metal detox. So you got to remove the heavy metals in the body because they're impacting you in ways that you probably don't know because you don't have a contrast and experience. You don't really have a before and an after. A lot of bacteria in the gut too, when it doesn't get cleaned out, can create a lot of states of disease as well. Right? So really cleaning out your gut, right? Looking into things that are cleaning out your organs. So moving on from the whole diet stuff is just rest. This involves getting the amount of sleep that I need, get a lot of sleep. I just aim for whatever my body needs. That's it. And I just really am able to kind of sense it and feel it through. Right? It's not about attaching to some kind of rigid agenda of any kind. It's like you have to continuously attune to your own needs, which I'm going to be talking about again later in the video. So this means just sitting, right? Even just sitting down and doing absolutely nothing. Sometimes I just want to sit, I want to do nothing because that just feels the best for my body and my mind. It just feels the most relaxing. Just look out a window, do nothing, not have a goal in mind. Just sit and be, just sit and exist. Another good thing that I do is just not overexerting energy. So if I have a bunch of things that I have to do, for example, let's say I have 5 things to do in a day, and I can feel that by doing all this stuff, I'm going to be in an unregulated state. It's just simply too much. I just don't do all those 5 things, right? I'm actually just spreading it out. I'm not taking on too much at once. I'm taking on just as much as I can handle. I'm not overworking. right? So I'm feeling into what keeps me the most regulated, and when I can sense that something is going to start to cause a sense of disease within my nervous system, I don't do it. It's relatively simple, right? But it's hard because we can lack this connection to ourselves, and once we don't really have that, it's hard. It's harder to tell. So a lot of us overexert energy in our sort of like hustle culture, and this is actually leaving our nervous system in subtle states of unregulation. And your nervous system is shaping up your entire experience of self, and well, I'm not going to say your entire experience, but it's shaping up a lot of your experience of self and reality and the stories that guide you in your life and the beliefs that you have and all this stuff. Nervous system also holds a lot of trauma in it and repressed energies. So you really want to take that one seriously. Moving on is just boundaries with other people, right? Saying no when I don't have the energy to do something, or if it will move me towards a state that lacks regulation. If I'm tired, I don't go and hang out with people, for example, right? I don't agree to things or people please, right? I'm not going to give extra when I can't. I just say no, right? I just don't do that. When I can feel that it's becoming too much, it's like I stop it. So again, it's like this attunement to your needs. I want to emphasize that word attunement. It's not very logical. It's like you're just sensing and present and just aware, and in a sense just gently inquiring into what's going on. You can ask questions that'll help you, like what's going to make me feel the most healthy? What's going to make me feel the most calm? What's going to make me feel the most peaceful? What's going to give me the most energy? It's going to allow me to rest well, to feel connected to myself, right? These are all good questions to ask. But attunement is just this pure giving of attention and feeling into the situation and just being able to sense into the energy of it and seeing how that's going to interact with you. So if overworking or giving too much to people is going to throw you out of whack, right? You just don't do it. You're just attuned to your body and its needs and what it's telling you. Next is daily exercise, daily stretching, daily yoga. Right, having the physical body just be well, right? I weightlift quite a lot. I used to weightlift like 7 days a week. It's kind of insane. I just really liked lifting. But now even just going for like a walk, right? Some days I'll just, maybe just go for a walk if I don't really feel like lifting that day, right? And when I say I don't feel like lifting, it's like, it's just intuitively not correct that day. Right? It's like I can sense that like really like my body doesn't want to lift. It's like it would feel better if I just went for a walk or if I went for a run or just something else. Right? So it's again attunement to my needs and what my body needs in this moment in order to be the most well, which isn't just always weightlifting or whatever it is. See, this is the problem with routines. They become mechanical and unconscious. This is the problem with even rigidly attaching yourself to certain goals. They easily become mechanical and unconscious and a disconnecting force. So have a clean information diet. This is another thing that I do. So I read a lot. I read a lot of books. Right? I'm reading every single day of my life, and it's been like that for many, many years. I cut out mindless information that you can find on the internet. I think a perfect example of this is like the typical political info that you find on the internet, especially as the US election kind of comes up. There's just more and more of it that you can find on the internet. There's just a lot of crap information on the internet, and you just want to cut it out. And that's a whole video on its own. How do you actually find healthy information on the internet? I'm not going to go into that. But typically, you can check out my book list. I have a lot of very good books on there, right? Check them out. And you just want to avoid very dogmatic viewpoints. If I'm going to just boil it down to one thing, if something is very dogmatic, rigid, very closed-minded, that's just like the pure sign to just like stop absorbing it. Because very dogmatic information, again, it's actually throwing you out of whack. It's putting you into like the survival mode. So endless scrolling, memes, etc. Right? The information that you put into your mind has to be healthy information that actually helps you, makes you feel regulated, right? Makes you feel curious, inspired, creative, etc. Right? Not watching a bunch of the news as well, right? Obviously. Another core point is just connecting to people, right? I connect to people who also value remaining in regulated states and value their own well-being and raising their consciousness, right? Rather than just anyone, right? It's like I value hanging out with people who are relatively wise, who actually just care about being present, being grounded. They care about their nervous system and they actually act on it. Right? So it's like my close friends are like-minded in this sense. Another good point is me spending time alone. I spend a lot of time alone, right? And when I can't go out, when I can't, hang out with people, I don't have the energy to do that, I spend it alone. Right? So it's like I'm just listening to what I really am wanting in the present. One day it might be going out and interacting with people. Another day it might just be sitting and just reading a book and wanting to do some work on something, just getting some ideas, just reading and writing or meditating or etc. Right? I'm not like always alone. But again, it's just like listening to your needs and what is actually keeping you the most healthy, right? And I really got to emphasize, you don't want to turn this into anything rigid. You don't want to turn this into anything dogmatic. It's a continuous attunement to your needs. It's a continuous attunement to the present, to your body, right? To your ability to connect with other people. It's like you're trying to find what fits your needs the best, right? And then not becoming dogmatic about it. Not thinking that like, oh, I can only ever do this for the rest of my life. No. Right, so spending time alone when I need to is really important. I spend quite a lot of alone time, and in my alone time, I'm mainly just reading or meditating or going for a walk. Right? I'm just trying to maybe weightlift, do some personal growth related stuff. Right? I'm not going to go into too much depth about that. So spending time in nature is really important as well. We actually need nature to be healthy. It's our true home. Moving on is hygiene, right? Just keep your body clean, brush your teeth. I'm not going to go into too much depth about that. It's a bit too obvious. So again, it's really about just continuous attunement to the needs that you have, moment by moment, in this non-dogmatic way. See, the mind can take this kind of information or it can realize something, but then it becomes rigid very fast. The mind just creates this like routine about it of like exercise, like I have to do this exercise, and then when I don't do it, there's like a problem or something. It's like you want to be open and flexible to life, right? And you want to just be able to attune to what's going on in the present, giving it your full attention, sensing into it, feeling into it, getting information in the present just based off of attention and feeling. Another core point is just being honest, right? You just really want to be honest with yourself of whether or not this thing is actually bringing you into a state of regulation or if it's actually just kind of dysfunctional. Right? That can be really hard because we can get attached to things that are dysfunctional. And we don't really want to be honest about it. So really being honest is just another core point here that actually helps to keep me regulated. If something's going to throw me out of whack, I have to be totally honest about it, and just that's it. Right? I have to value the energy that I have a lot. Or else it's easy for the world to begin to like throw it out of whack. Right? You have to have the ability to maintain boundaries, and you also have to have the flexibility to let them go so you can connect with other people or try something new as well. So again, it's like we're not turning this into any kind of dogmatic structure or routine, right? It's just like, what am I most called to now? What's going to make me feel the most peaceful now? What is the healthiest thing for me now? What's going to allow my energy to regulate the best now? What's going to make me feel the most present now? Right? It's this present moment awareness that has to be developed, and this ability to follow the things that are actually going to lead you to well-being. That's it for this video. If you want to work with me one-to-one, you can apply to do so. Link is in the pinned comment. Take it easy.